It started with a whisper, a soft murmur that echoed through the empty halls of Blackwood Manor. For a century, the grand estate had stood atop the misty cliffs of Raven Hill, watching over the town below like silent guardian. But no one lived there anymore, not since the night of vanishing. In 1892, the entire Blackwood family disappeared without a trace. Lord and Lady Blackwood, their three children, and even the dozen servants, gone. No sign of struggle, no bodies, just a eerily silent house, its doors left open, the dining table still set, candles burned down to wax puddles. For years, no one dared to enter. The town spoke of eerie lights flickering behind the windows at night, of strange figures in Victorian attire seeing pacing the balconies, of screams carried by the wind. The legend grew, but the truth remained buried until Jonathan Graves arrived. Jonathan was a paranormal investigator driven by a hunger for the unknown. He had spent years documenting haunted places, debunking myths, and sometimes confirming them. When he heard of Blackwood Manor, he knew this was his greatest challenge yet. With a team of four, Alice, his tech expert, Sam, his historian, Mike, his cameraman, and Evelyn, a psychic sensitive to spirits, Jonathan set out to uncover the truth. They arrived at the manor just before the sunset. The air was thick, heavy, with strange stillness, as if the house itself was holding its breath. The grand doors creaked open under Jonathan's touch, revealing a once beautiful foyer now draped in cobwebs and dust. The moment they stepped inside, Evelyn shivered. "They never left," she whispered. As they set up their equipment, things began to feel wrong. The temperature dropped drastically, their breath misting in the air. A piano in the parlor played a single note, though no one was near it. Alice's EMF detector spiked wildly. Mike swore he saw a shadow dart across the second floor landing. Then came the voices. At first, they were faint, soft whispers echoing through the halls. But soon, they grew louder, more distinct. A woman sobbing, a child giggling, a deep, guttural voice murmuring in a language none of them understood. Evelyn clutched her head. "They're watching us. They don't want us here." Then the front door slammed shut on its own. Determined to get to the bottom of the mystery, Jonathan and his team pressed on. They uncovered old journals belonging to Lady Blackwood. The last entry was chilling. "He comes at night, a shadow with hollow eyes. He speaks in a tongue not of this world. We are trapped. We are his now." That was when Evelyn screamed. They turned to find her frozen in place, her eyes wide in horror, staring at something unseen. Then she was gone, vanished, just like the Blackwoods. Panic set in. Jonathan and his team searched the entire house, calling Evelyn's name. The walkie-talkies crackled the static. Then Evelyn's voice whispered through. "Help me. He won't go." Mike ran towards the grand staircase, only to be flung backward by an invisible force. His camera shattered, his ribs cracked. The house had turned against them. Sam, trembling, began to recite an old Latin exorcism he had read in one of the Blackwood journals. The walls trembled, The whisper turned into screams. The air thickened, pressing against their chest, and then it stopped. The silence was worse than the noise. In the eerie stillness, Jonathan noticed something he hadn't before: a massive portrait above the fireplace. Lord Blackwood, his wife, his children, and behind them, a shadow figure with hollow eyes. The entity! Jonathan breathed. The house itself was its prison, and anyone who entered became its prisoners. The Blackwoods, the servants, Evelyn, and now them. The front door creaked open, as if inviting them to leave. But as Jonathan turned, he saw something that made his blood run cold. His own face in the portrait, right where Lord Blackwood once stood. Jonathan and the remaining team member ran for the door, stumbling out in the cold night air. They didn't stop until they reached the van. They never looked back, but when they returned to the town, something was off. The town looked older, like it had stepped back a century. The people wore Victorian clothing, and when Jonathan looked into a shop window, his reflection was not his own. It was Lord Blackwood. The house had let them leave, but it had never let them go. And somewhere deep inside Blackwood Manor, Evelyn still screamed. It started as an harmless dare. Go inside, walk to the end of hall, and come back, Darren said, grinning wickedly. The house had been abandoned for decades, standing on the outskirts of town like a forgotten corpse. Everyone knew the rumors. People who entered never came out. But Max wasn't one to back down from a challenge. He stepped inside. The air was stale, thick with dust or something rotting. His flashlight beam flickered, barely piercing through the suffocating darkness. The front door creaked shut behind him. Max turned. The door was gone. In its place was a long, endless hallway. The wooden floor stretched far beyond where the house should have ended, the faded wallpaper peeling away in curled yellow strips. Dim sconces flickered along the corridor, their weak glow barely illuminating the suffocating void ahead. He took a step. The floor groaned under his weight. Then another step. A low whisper slithered through the air. Keep walking. His breath hissed. The voice came from behind him. He spun around. Nothing but the endless hallway. Something was wrong. This wasn't possible. The house wasn't this big. He should have hit the back wall already. He turned back. The hallway had changed. The walls pulsed like living, breathing flesh. The sconces flickered violently, throwing shadows around the warped wood. A rancid smell, copper and decay, filled his nostrils. This time the voice was closer. His heartbeat thundered in his ears. He turned again. A tall, emaciated figure stood inches away. Its face was stretched too wide, its mouth agaping. Black maw filled with writhing, inhuman tongues. His hollow eyes locked onto his. It smiled. Max ran. He sprinted down the hallway, his footsteps echoing impossibly loud. Doors lined the walls now. Doors that hadn't been there before. He grabbed a handle, twisted, locked. He tried another, locked. Every single door locked. The hallway stretched, twisted. He ran faster. His breath dragged behind him. The creature's footsteps were slow, deliberate. He left a corner, only to see himself standing at the other end of the hallway. No, not himself. The thing. It had his face, his own lips curled into that unnatural smile.
You should have never come.
The lights flickered and went out. The darkness swallowed him whole, and the hallway stretched on forever. You ever rewatch a Zoom recording and notice something that wasn't there before? That happened to Ria. She watched herself and someone breathing behind her. It wasn't a glitch. Ria worked from home. Long meetings, late nights, camera always on. One Friday, she was rewatching a recorded client call just to check her notes. But halfway through, she noticed something odd. Her reflection in the window behind her was still moving, even when she wasn't. She paused the video. Her reflection blinked, then smiled. Ria's hands started shaking. The timestamp at the bottom of the recording, 12:03 a.m. But her meeting ended at 11:58. The recording kept going. She hadn't clicked record. Then a whisper from her speakers.
Keep watching.
She watched as the figure behind her walked closer, step by step. It stopped right behind her chair, then leaned in and whispered something. But the mic didn't catch. All she could hear was her own heartbeat. Ria checked her file's properties. The recording had been uploaded from an IP address in her own building's basement. She deleted the file, closed her laptop. The next morning, her company's IT team sent her a warning. Stop sharing your meeting links publicly. Someone keeps joining our calls. But here's the thing, she never shared that link. So, if you work from home, maybe check who's really on your next call. She thought it was a glitch, a random message from her own number. It said, "Don't leave your house tonight." She laughed. Then her doorbell rang. I want you to listen to this story very closely because today this is not a story, it is a warning. Mira was home alone, just scrolling through her phone, texting her friend about a movie night. Then she got a notification. Message from me. Same profile photo, same display name, same number. The text, "Don't go out." She checked her call logs. Her number had called itself 2 minutes earlier. She brushed it off as a glitch, maybe a spoofing prank. But when she tried calling to herself, the line picked up. Then a whisper, "Stay inside." She threw the phone, grabbed her keys, and ran to the door. But through the peephole stood a man, not moving, just staring, holding a phone to his ear. She froze. The man said nothing, didn't knock, didn't blink. Her phone buzzed again. Message from me. "He knows you saw him. Don't open the door." The man smiled, slowly put the phone down, and started unlocking her gate. She called the police. They arrived in minutes. But when they checked the CCTV footage, There was no man, just her standing at the door, whispering to herself,
Don't open the door. Don't open the door.
The next morning, her number was disconnected by the service provider. The police said it wasn't possible for her number to text or call herself, but she still gets messages sometimes from her old number. They always say one thing.
He's back.
You ever reply to a stranger online and they reply too fast, like unnaturally fast? That's what happened to Ethan, and now he's gone. Ethan was a night owl, the kind of guy who lived on forums, chatting with people at 3 a.m. about tech, games, and conspiracies. One night he joined a private Discord server, someone linked from Reddit. The server had no name, no channels, just one chat room called The Watchers. He thought it was a joke until someone DM'd him. Username, he sees you. The first message was simple.
Hello, Ethan.
He laughed. Must be someone trolling. But when he checked their profile, it had his full name, his college, his street. He froze, and then they typed again.
Nice hoodie. The one with the red drawstrings?
Ethan turned around, but there was no one. But his webcam light was on. He shut his laptop, pulled out the charger. His phone buzzed. A new message. Don't close me. He threw his phone, heart pounding. Every light in his room flickered. Then a final message appeared on his TV screen. Come outside. We're waiting. The police found his door locked from inside, laptop smashed, and his chair sitting perfectly in front of the window. But Ethan wasn't there. Just a message glowing on the cracked screen. User, he sees you, is still typing. Maybe don't reply to random messages tonight, because someone might already know your name. Stay curious, but not too curious. There's a building near my city where the elevator skips the fourth floor. It goes 1, 2, 3, and 5. Everyone thinks it's a superstition until one man pressed both buttons at once and it opened. But not to a floor that should exist. Rahul worked night shifts at a corporate office, alone in a 20-story building. The elevator always skipped 4. No lights, no buttons, just an empty space between floors. One night he got curious. He pressed 3 and 5 together. The elevator jolted and stopped at floor 4. The doors opened. No lights, no sounds, just a faint corridor. Same layout as his office floor, but completely abandoned. Dust everywhere, phones on desk, old rotary ones. And on one cubicle wall, a photo of his entire office team. Same faces, but everyone looked older. Rahul called out, "Hello?" And a voice identical to his replied from the far end of the hall, You're not supposed to be here. The lights flickered, the elevator doors began to close. He ran, barely made it inside. As the door shut, he saw his own face, standing in the hallway, smiling back at him. The next morning, maintenance checked the elevator logs. No record of a stop between 3 and 5, but the camera feed showed the doors opening and Rahul stepping out. He never came back to work again.